right, guys. So welcome again to the Modern Manhood Podcast. We're excited. Today is it is actually a special day for us because we get to shout out someone who is amazing, doing some dope work in the community when it comes to what men's health looks like. So I'm Dr. Damon, of course, here with my co-creator, Dr. Donnell Cole, and with the founders of the Modern Manhood Foundation, with our mission to empower men with skills and tools to grow and build better communities. And what better way to do that than to connect with those who are doing great things? So, Donnell, tell us who we're speaking with today.
Hey, you guys. So you guys are in for a treat. I've had the honor and privilege of reading my brother, Collin Mays' book, who is an author, philanthropist, speaker, as well as a health enthusiast. And I just want to name off some of his small awards and some of the leadership awards that he's received as I read his book. He was awarded introduction to Michigan Chronicles 40 Under 40 class, 2015, Spirit the Detroit Award, the Real Times Media Who's Who in Black Detroit, 20 in their 20s class. Man, you have the Motor City's Honors 20 to watch class. I mean, it's just humbling over all of the many professional achievements that he's been recognized for, as well as, let's see, in 2023, honored to accept the National Forum for Black Public Administrators Stephen D. Ford Memorial Award for Professional Excellence. So I know that this doesn't even scratch the surface of everything that you achieved in terms of your health transformation, which is what I love most about your book. So please tell us your origin, and then how you use this to actually change lives around the world now.
Well, Damon and Donnell, I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's greatly appreciated. I reached out to you both some months ago and introduced myself and told you a little bit about my story, and we just instantly clicked. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity. And, I'll say this, of all the great professional accolades that I've received, the one thing that I was unable to do in my life was really dial in my personal physical health. And I realized that all the accolades, all the achievements, the awards wouldn't mean anything if I wasn't healthy. And
Yeah,
that was something that I really had to address.
yeah,
So September 9th, 2016, I'll never forget the day. I went to the doctor for the first time in 2.5 years, stepped on the scale, and I was 419 pounds. And I was angry, I was sad, I was depressed, I was anxious, but most of all, I was scared. I was scared that I was going to be another statistic of a black man that leaves the world far too soon. And the average age of life expectancy for black men in this country now is low 60s. I think it's like
yeah,
61 or 62 years old. And when I'm hearing that, I'm just thinking like, man, that number one, that can't be true. And number two, if it is true, how do we collectively as a group reverse that? Because um, that's not even retirement age.
yeah,
I mean, when I hear that, and I'm thinking like there are so many black men that are fathers, so many black men that are sons, brothers, cousins, uncles, nephews, that are valuable to our community and to the world. And we have got to change that narrative around what does it mean for us to take care of ourselves. So,
absolutely.
that same night, I went home, and after I left the doctor, just still in disbelief, and I wrote down my dreams, my aspirations, my goals, the things I wanted to accomplish by the time I was 40. At that time, I was 26. And I had an issue, a common denominator, which was that I couldn't accomplish anything that I wanted to accomplish on that list if I was still, 400 plus pounds. And it really motivated me, at least for the next day, to wake up, go to the gym, change a little bit of my diet. I spent, I'd say, maybe 14 minutes on the treadmill, walking at a very low speed. I want to say maybe 3 miles per hour, and went home and I quit. And I said, this is too much. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be a long road to get to where I want to get to, and it's just not worth it. So a couple weeks went by, I'm back to eating the McDonald's hot cakes and scrambled eggs, the big breakfast at McDonald's, and eating all the no good ice cream, the butter pecan cookies and cream, all that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I put the list away for a couple weeks,
Mm.
and I don't know what like jarred me, but I found it. I found it in the drawer. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? What if I devoted, at that time, it was like, what if I just devoted 3 months to really changing my diet and really being active? And in doing that, I was able to lose probably like 36 pounds in 3 months, because I was so dialed in. And that just motivated me to keep going. And that motivated me to um, keep trying to aspire to be better physically, keep trying to aspire to be better mentally. And so much of what I learned on the journey was that um, it's a mental game. When you're
It is.
overweight, when you're overweight, so much of it is just, hey, what am I going to eat today? What am I not going to eat today? What can I put in my body that's going to nourish me, not add toxins to my body? So for me, when I realized that, what, I can survive with vegetables and chicken breast and salmon. Salmon's really good, man. I'm a big advocate for salmon if anybody likes salmon. But I can have a nice balanced diet, and you know what, I can still have that Oreo here or there. I mean, we're all human. I can still have something that is going to satisfy my sweet tooth, but I have got to be better in terms of the discipline of what I put in my body.
Yeah, man, I like in your book how you talk about the psychological part about it. Because I thought about, like, I had got not the 400, but I got to about 370. And it was when I was in college and I got like the student of the month. And I was thrilled, like 4.0. And I looked and I was like, bro, what are you doing? I didn't recognize myself, but we were just on the go. So I thought about the idea of how much emphasis we play on the physical more than the mental. A lot of our patterns and behaviors comes from ways that we think and how we process emotions eternally. And I like in your book how you talk about growing up being black and some of the pressure that comes with growing up in some of the environments that's been normalized as far as health and how we eat. And I've been reading this book about self-concept, and I wanted to know, how did you really dial into this new version of yourself? Because it's not easy. I don't know how many times I've gained weight and lost weight over and over and over. And some people are like, just be disciplined, just use your will, almost like force yourself to do it. But I see in this book how you met with the dietitian and you also met with a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a dietitian. And so you utilize resources around you. So tell me about how that really helped you to stay connected to this new version that it seems like you're pursuing.
Man, it's funny you should say that, because it is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong battle. And I was able to discipline myself to say, all right, once a week, I'm going to have a cheat meal. It could be whatever I want. Typically on a Saturday, I'll have it at like 2 or 3 o'clock. I'll be done for the day. But it could be whatever I want it to be. It could be burgers. I love pizza, so I'll have pizza. But in doing that, that means that I have to be disciplined throughout the rest of the week. And that's the hard part, right? Because you're going to work, you're getting nonsense from coworkers, from your boss,
Mhm.
from then you're coming home and getting nonsense elsewhere, and it's like, well, I'm going to turn to food. Like, what else can I turn to?
Right.
And I always tell people that you can be addicted to drugs, you can be addicted to gambling, you can be addicted to alcohol. Um, there is no, in my opinion, no worse addiction than food, because you cannot physically live without eating. And when you change your mindset completely around what food means, that's hard. Like you said, that's hard to do. And for me, it was really just taking it one step at a time, literally one bite at a time, right? Slowing down. A big thing for me was water. I don't
Yes.
drink, I don't drink alcohol to begin with, but I totally cut out pop. We say pop in Detroit. I know it's soda, but um, I totally cut out soda and just went to the water, and the water ended up being a great way for me to really dial in my diet and help keep me full. And it helped me with constantly just moving around. You go to the bathroom, and when you're drinking so much water, you don't want to eat anything
Man.
bad. 'Cause you're like, man, all this water intake, like,
Oh,
I don't want to eat anything bad.
We're in what we call like the biggest loser culture. Like it's really common to hear stories. Not that the stories themselves are common, but it's common to hear the stories of people losing, massive amounts of weight and really getting into that space of really focusing on their health and then gaining it back or having struggles with other things. And for me, understanding your story and getting to know what your journey looked like, tapping into all those resources is the key. It sounds like you really leaned into those other spaces and knowledge and support systems to help you make some sense of it for the long run. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely, it is. And
bro, the title is losing it for good. When I read that, I was like, I'm down in. Tell me how to lose it for good, bro.
well, and I'll say this too. I've gone through four very depressive episodes in my life, and I'm currently in my fourth. And I have gained 12 pounds, so I'm trying to work to take off 12 pounds. My father unexpectedly passed in March,
Sorry
and
about that, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
thank you. And my dad passed, from an undiagnosed genetic heart issue. And that just goes to show, like, as black men, sometimes you can go to the doctor, you can exercise. My dad was always in shape. My dad was a former boxer. I mean, he was always in the best of shape, always putting like an apple in front of me, a banana, and here I am reaching for the M&Ms. But so much of what it is that we can do as black men is to make sure that we're being as proactive as we possibly can. Sometimes we can't help our genetics. Sometimes even if we do everything, our genetics can catch up to us. But there are things that we can be proactive about. Making sure that we exercise. I do the elliptical machine. My friends tease me, but I do the elliptical machine every morning for 45 minutes. Like, that's the first thing I'm gonna do before I leave the house. I don't care. I'll be late to a meeting. Before I leave the house, I gotta do the elliptical because it just makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel like I got the hardest thing of my day out the way,
Yeah,
and now I can just tackle whatever else comes to me. So I make sure that I'm focused in on doing the elliptical, and for me, that's my exercise machine of choice. So
terrible. It's terrible. Slow, almost up there with burpees. At least it ain't Stairmaster. If it was Stairmaster, I'd be like, bro, we can't have him on the panel. But that's
Sense of a
dope,
little
man.
trauma. Sense of a
That's
little
awesome.
trauma there, man.
Yeah, just a little bit. Elliptical is cool, man, because you can flow with it. You got different levels that you can go with it. It's not like the Stairmaster. Stairmaster, I think, I'm almost sure like the devil created the Stairmaster. And that's just because I don't like working my legs like that. But that's
well, the
that's
elliptical, you work in your legs, you work in your core,
full
and
body.
yeah, your whole body, because you're moving it. And
Yeah.
I'll say this, for me, I do, like I said, 45 minutes, level 12.
Whew.
So I am like when I get off that thing, I'm ready to pass out.
That's dope, man. That's
Yeah.
dope.
When we think about, what a journey like that looks like, you talked and you spoke particularly about the nuance of being a black man in that space. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like, um, because I mean, that's a struggle that isn't really spoken to when it comes to really taking the reins when it comes to your health.
Yeah, and I think that, I'm just going to speak very plainly. The world does not appreciate black men. And, um, I think that a dog would be treated better than I would, just being frank. And for me, I decided I had to put my health in my hands, right? And I didn't want to have to go back to the doctor again, and the doctor's telling me, oh, well, this is too high or that's too high, and I'm going to put you on medicine. Like, I never want to be on
Yeah.
medicine. No way. No way am I going on medicine. I'm going to correct my body myself. And it's going to take some time. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be the long road, as I like to call it. But I'm going to get there. Just like I'm determined to lose the 12 pounds. I'm going to lose it before I get to OKC. I'm going to tell you that. So
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm
I
on
believe
it,
you can do
man.
it. I believe you can do it. I've been on
Yeah.
it, man. Your book has inspired me, man. I went to the doctor. I met with a therapist. Today was my first day, because it started making me really think about how many behavior patterns I learned in my upbringing. I was telling Damon this, that I remember when I first moved out, and I was having these severe migraines, and I was in the military, so I always had strong work ethic from the military. But I had these migraines when my ears was ringing, and I went to the doctor, and he said your blood pressure is high. And I'm like, how? I don't never eat out. He's like, what are you cooking? I'm like, well, I fry some chicken, and sometimes I fry like fish. So I was like, I cook everything at home. And he was like, well, you're frying everything. That's why your blood pressure is high. And so growing up, I thought you got high blood pressure from just eating fast food. I didn't know you got it from frying stuff. And so I started thinking about how many other behaviors have been normalized in our culture just from our upbringing, compared to like how we're supposed to live a life of wellness and a life of wholeness. It's crazy. So how did you overturn, or how did you unlearn some of those things in your journey?
So again, my story is unique in the fact that I knew what to do. Like, my parents were very healthy. I mean, we would have salads, we would have green
Yeah.
beans. Like, mama put the the healthy food on the table, and I mean, I'd eat it, but I would somehow find a way to also get my hands on a quesadilla, find a way to get my hands
Oh,
on some Chinese food, again, the pizzas.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, I knew what to do. It's just, and I don't know if it was so much a matter of like rebellion, um, but I knew what to do, and I
yeah.
just was being undisciplined at that time.
What flipped the switch for you though? Like, I know, other than going to the doctor and step on the scale, because there's a lot of people that step on the scale, and there's some people. For my uncle, I remember my uncle called me. He was literally on his deathbed, like, hey, take me to go get some ribs and some baked beans, because they ain't gonna let me get this in the hospital. He was
Mm.
like, I'm gonna go anyway, and a lot of us have that. Like, I'm gonna go anyway, so I should have what I want to have. So, what do you think it was for you that flipped the switch?
Um, I think for me, it was the fact that I wanted to give my life all I could, right? And I wanted to leave a legacy for my kids. And if ultimately my genetics take me out, which more than likely it will, at least I gave it my all. Like, I don't want to leave this world and not feel like it had I just tried or had I just pushed myself further. I wanted to make sure that when I leave this world, I have given 150% to my life, to my job, to my marriage when that day comes, like the whole nine. I want to make sure that that I'm being the best version of myself, because ultimately, that's who we're in competition with, is ourselves.
Absolutely.
I think it's interesting how, seeing your story and Donnell, he talked about the accolades and the things that you'd accomplished, even in that space of your life,
Yeah.
of reaching, 400 pounds. Manhood is so steeped in, our productivity and how well we're showing up to reach for those and gain those accolades and gain that type of notoriety in our community. And for a lot of us, I would expect that having that success, gives us that feeling of a pass on really being able to take care of ourselves. You know, Traditionally, if a man is productive, he's taking care of home, and he got a heavy weight so he can protect. A lot of us see that as like, well, what do I need to change for? Why should I risk that while trying to take care of ourselves? How did you overcome that?
I had to learn to be, and I'm going to say this because I think that brothers have to learn this as well, and it's hard for us because we're just naturally providers, and we're naturally going to make sure that our neighbor,
Package.
our loved one is taken care of before we are. But you got to be selfish. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to leave the house until I do that elliptical,
Mm.
um, and my breakfast has been consistent. It'll be oatmeal, banana, maybe some berries, and my lunch is consistent too. So I have like chicken and veggies, and maybe like a fiber bar, and then for dinner can be kind of a free for all, but I'll try to stick to like salmon or some more veggies, and it's just a matter of disciplining yourself. Not to say you can't have the food that you want to have, but spread it out. I mean, I look at calories as a budget, right? So when we're making a budget for the month, all right, I got to pay rent, I got to pay my car note, I got to pay my car insurance, I got to pay gas. I got to have a little fun money set aside. I might want to go to Aruba with some friends. I got to make sure that I properly budget. So it's the same thing when you're eating. Let's make sure that we properly budget. If you know that you're going to a huge graduation event on a Saturday and it's going to be like countless amounts of food there, then you got to be more disciplined throughout the week. All right, well, I'm going to, splurge here, and I'm not even going to worry about, really what I'm putting in my mouth. But I'm going to be so disciplined throughout the week that I can account for it.
Mhm.
Makes good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when we make it plain like that and really add a way to consider it, then it makes a little more sense. Because let's face it, as guys, we're not trying to lose weight so we can fit into a certain outfit. We're not often looking towards even what the scale says particularly. So it figuring out a way to make sense of it for what your life needs to look like is the key. So yeah, that's some pretty good sound and simple advice that I think when you put into play can really make a big difference. What would you say has been one of the biggest struggles in this space? Because a lot of the work that you're talking about is that inner work that we've got to do in order to change our mindset. But you get the mindset, you've got the plan, you've got the leeway. What has become one of the tougher struggles that maybe you didn't expect to show up?
Um, Learning to tell other people no. When you're a busy professional, I'm sure you two can appreciate this. Like, you're going to events at night, and people are going to put food in front of you and say, "Hey, just eat this," or grab, have this bite. And for me, I practice fasting, so
Yes.
intermittent fasting, and I will fast on average 14 to 15 hours. So I'll maybe stop eating at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening time, and I'll pick back up maybe at 7 or maybe even 8. So,
Mhm.
um, and that helped me too, because your body has to process. Well, what did I
Yeah.
exactly do the day before, right? And when your body can process that, then you have a greater advantage of dropping the weight, or getting to your goal, whatever that might be.
Yeah, yeah. You got to figure out what works for you, right? And
Eat
and
better too, man.
mhm. You mentioned having that mental health support, if you will, right? That psychology space, or even counselors in a way to kind of help make sense of it. And we talk a lot about mindset. What do you think is one of the biggest helps of having that type of support? Because plenty of people don't think about that as part of the process
Yes.
of losing weight.
Um, I'll say this: for me, having the support from other Black men has been crucial. As I mentioned, I lost my dad earlier this year. I lost my mom in 2020, so it's been a rough, 4-year stretch. And if it wasn't for having community around me, I really don't know if I would have been able to kind of get through those two very difficult, life-altering situations. Of course, you go through your heartbreaks too, with women and whatnot, and you got to have a good village to support you in those regards too. So, um, and hey, look, I tell people, so much of my weight loss journey was also financial, and the fact that if I can live long enough, I can find a way to make $1 million, hopefully,
Let's
right?
go. I
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
that.
So for me, it's like the longer I can stay in the game, then the greater advantage I have.
Yeah.
Sounds dope.
Has it made your career better?
You said, has it helped my career?
Mm-hmm.
I think it has. I had some, certainly some accolades prior to losing the weight, but I think people give you more respect when they see that you've gone through something like that, right? Because not everybody can. I mean, not everybody can totally transform how they look. So I think I certainly do get some respect, when it comes to that.
Gotta be. Because even the way you value yourself shows up differently. When you know you can commit to yourself, going through a transformation is nothing like it. But it's different when you know the transformation surpasses just the surface, taking on a new aspect of your being. Like these are things, at least in my opinion, that allows us to no longer have to be victim to our limitations. Because you know it's only your sense of concept that's dictating the reality you can live. And when I was looking through this book, you were talking about like as a professional how perception impacts the level of success you can achieve. Sometimes some of the rooms that you may be able to be in because of the way that you hold yourself and just your overall appeal in terms of professionalism as well.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely think that people judge you. I mean, call it right, wrong,
Yeah,
whatever it is, it's just reality. People judge you based on how you look. I mean, there have been studies that show, um, people that look a certain way or that are a certain size end up getting the promotions, end up getting, you know,
absolutely.
yeah, career advancement. So, I mean, it all plays a role because I think people are looking for someone to look up to, no matter how old you are, right? Like, how does that person have that? I want that, or I want to
Mhm.
be successful in that, or I want to look like that, right? And how do I get there? So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. And it's so true, and I think it's easy to see that if you know what you're looking for and what today's culture looks like. We're in a TikTok culture, Instagram culture, where some of the most successful looking people are in shape, and that's a big focus of theirs. But then we also know on the flip side of on the flip side of that coin comes the body dysmorphia and the struggle of not comparing yourself to other people, especially when they look like you and they seem to be much more successful than you, or they seem happier. We're going to put that in quotations because nobody knows what that looks like when the cameras are turned off. But how do you deal with that space? Because we deal with it enough, as Black men trying to measure up to other people in society. But how do you really cope with that to make sure that you're focused on your healing in a way that is respectful, of course, of the journey, and you're still setting some goals, but that doesn't let you go into that spiral?
Great question. And I would say I just end up always reverting back to my why. Why do I want to be healthy? What is the end goal for me in terms of going through these kind of health journeys and whatnot? And it boils down to, hey, I want to be around for my kids, and I want to be able to leave a legacy, financial, health, etc. Same way that my parents did for me. So, we talk a lot about generational wealth, but we also got to talk about generational health too with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big. And with that, I'm excited because we get to continue this conversation with you. We get to expand it and we get to grow with it face to face, right? So hopefully, as you guys are watching this, you already know that we have the Men's Health Meetup, which is coming up October 26th, right here
Let's
in
go.
Listen, we're excited because we're welcoming Collin to come out with us, to join us on stage, to join us in the crowd, to really bring that insight to the conversation. So you guys can go to manhoodmasterclass.com right now and you can secure your ticket for free. Join us at the Men's Health Meetup. We're excited about not just having this conversation, but connecting everyone to the resources that are right here to help us create the life that we want to create for ourselves. And so we're really looking forward to it. Collin, it's been a pleasure just to see your journey, but also something for us to look forward to and kind of catching up. So what is it that you want to see from this event? What should we look forward to that you're looking forward to?
Man, I'm looking forward to getting to OKC. I've never been, and you brothers have been fantastic, so I know it's going to be a great time. And I'm looking forward to connecting with the greater Oklahoma City community. Looking forward to just having open, vulnerable dialogue. Just as a Black man, what am I going through? What are other Black men going through? And how do we lean on each other to make sure that we have that support? That's what I'm most interested in and excited about.
Yeah, go ahead and manage your diet because we're having it catered by Prince Chef Mason. Prince Chef Prince Mason, who is and man, every time we've had a chance to sit down at one of his tables, it's been a phenomenal experience. So yeah, go ahead and manage those calories so you can enjoy and hang out with us. We've got a DJ, we've got some live music. It's going to be a dope experience. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to being there, guys, and I appreciate you.
It's gonna be a good time, man. I appreciate you sharing your journey, bro. I know there's a lot of people that for this one thing, making this small change can truly alter, generations to come. That one change, can really alter a lot of generations. So we're honored that you're sharing your journey, and along the way, being able to help bring together a community that can make this change. We need it. We need it so bad. So
absolutely. Listen, once
and you
again,
know what? We're in it together.
Yeah, that's real. We've got to really do it together. We talk about wanting men to walk away a better version of themselves, and a big part of that is knowing that we're not walking that alone, right? We're not in that struggle. We're on that journey by ourselves. So we're excited to link arms with you, man. We're looking forward to really bringing this to life. Where can they find you if they want to connect?
yes.
With you?
My website is up to date. I definitely encourage people to get to me on my website. It's www.collinmays.com. My contact information is there. Link to purchase my book if anyone's interested. And I'll be bringing some books down there with me to OKC. And also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, Collin Mays. I don't really do any other socials. I have an Instagram, but it's very few and far between used. So definitely my website and LinkedIn is the best way to get a hold of me.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you, bro. We can't wait to actually see you in person and really welcome you to Oklahoma
Take
City.
you around the city. We'll make sure we get him a hotel room that has an elliptical, so his first 45 minutes can be devoted to this ritual. That's probably why I haven't been able to keep it off for good. It's because I don't start with an elliptical, but I'm gonna make that part of it. So better than burpees. I'll take an elliptical over burpees any day. But
there you go. There you go.
That's real, man. We appreciate you. We're looking forward to having a dope time. Again, to everyone who's watching, tap in with us at manhubmasterclass.com, where you can get your free tickets to the Men's Health Meetup. Or if you are a business or an organization that serves men in our community and you want to be there and support, then you can become one of our vendors. We definitely want to give you space to share what you're doing in the community. Or if you want to volunteer with us, all of that can be found at manhubmasterclass.com, and we hope to see you guys there really soon. We'll catch you guys next time.
Hey, put some questions down there for Collin. Drop a bunch of questions down there because he's going to be at the event, so he can be ready with these questions. Y'all want to know how to do it? The man has done it. I'm just saying.